Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Long Walker Live. This is Woke Wednesdays on a Thursday, special edition. So let's see, Never got us set up with quite a few things to watch, so we'll go into our wokeness and just see what's on the agenda today.
Mostly, I think actually they're all from the channel Clownfish.
Okay, so Clownfish, everyone. That's all from the same channel.
Well, compilation.
Yeah, compilations. So we'll see what's up with that and have some fun with this today. And do not forget, tune in tomorrow night. Another one. I'm doing back-to-backs this time. But tomorrow night we got a special announcement to tell everybody.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I said one video was hidden.
Yeah, I don't know which one that is. It's an older thing. Oops. We're gonna have to sound it.
I believe I knew I was different. I didn't really know what yet because I didn't really know the word trans. I didn't know what LGBTQ was. I didn't know any of that. So I was like, Mom, I think I like women. I think I like guys. I don't really know. And she was like, I accept you for whoever you think you are. And so I've been on testosterone for about 3 years now.
Okay.
So that's been great.
So you were born as
A female.
a female, and now you're a man.
Yes. Incorrect.
Now it's clear this guy's parents failed hard, and I'm guessing they catered to his
A little more than
delusion
hard.
and got him his very own litter box as well. And parents aren't the only ones who bend over backwards to cater to the demands of the delusional. Just look at this collegiate women's volleyball match that was dominated by biological males.
This female volleyball game that we witnessed earlier featured not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 men pretending to be females. 3 were on Seneca, 2 were on Centennial. Gee, can you imagine which side won? Not only that, the male players were always on the court. So you had biological female substitutes just sitting on the bench for the entire game.
You think we're very this topic though, and why are you filming me? You don't have my permission.
We don't need your permission. We're in a public
so then why are you
space.
talking to me then?
Well, you came to us actually.
You came to me.
No, you came to us.
Disrespectful then? Why are you being disrespectful?
Well,
Why are you transphobic, huh?
Why?
No.
Am I being transphobic? Why?
Shut up.
What? Oh, wow.
Answer my question.
Did we trigger you?
No, you didn't trigger
Are
me.
you trans too?
Do I look trans to you?
Who knows these days?
Okay, so why are you
What about you,
Exactly.
Karen? How about you guys?
No comment. I hope you can go rot in hell, you white.
Wow. What happened to love trumps hate? What? You own this place? Oh, did we trigger you?
Okay.
Did-
Vagina. I don't give a if you have a vagina.
Did we trigger you, sir or ma'am?
Okay, first of all, I wasn't talking to you, so shut your up. And you, I don't care if you.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, you're so sensitive.
I'll say
Yep.
it again, nonsense like this only ends when people
Will
refuse to
Arnett.
participate in their delusion.
So
If
sensitive.
everyone walked onto the arena, court or playing field and forfeited the match, any victory cheaters have would be hollow and worthless. And side note, this guy has some serious anger management issues, although it is entertaining to see how easily triggered he is. In these next 2 clips, you'll see a lot more triggered folks who seemingly spend all their free time preaching their ideologies to anyone who will listen.
I am offended that our children are not receiving affordable gender reassignment surgery along with hormone blockers and access to abortions. This alone is a threat to our democracy.
What?
It just
Did you
shows
see him?
that you people do not care about our children and that these are the same people who refuse to obey the science and get fully vaccinated. It's science, people.
Oh my god.
Science.
So inclusion
He's
is a
melting.
national security imperative.
We are screwed.
We fight today, and we are going to fight in the future using.
Yeah, I remember this one.
Hello? Anybody home?
And
It
if
looks
that
like,
brain is gonna
Quagmire's dead.
revolutionize the way we fight in space, we fight in cyber. Just happens to be in a trans body.
you should want them all serving alongside me.
No.
But it's inclusion
Stanley.
that actually drives that.
I don't believe you.
Because you can bring people in, and if they don't feel safe to speak up, if they don't feel safe to bring their full selves to work,
Boy, do you sound soft.
you're not going to get the value of the diversity.
There's that word again.
So for us, it is absolutely critical to drive our future success as an organization and potentially on the battlefield.
Oh, we're gonna lose the next war.
Now, starting with the trans lieutenant colonel, it's funny that he keeps mentioning brain power but seems to think inclusion is somehow a secret weapon for the military, when in reality all it's doing is bringing in mentally confused folks for the sake of filling a quota. Meanwhile, you could probably behave like this guy for about 20 minutes back in the 80s before a white van pulled up with 2 caretakers. But as is the case with both of these clips, it's this
They're
vocal
coming to
minority
take me
that always
away,
seems to
haha.
command the headlines with their sobbing and screams for attention. And for our penultimate clip, check out what this high school decided to teach their students in the name of diversity.
Think the white drip off his lick it. I feel the hot sauce, hot cha-cha feeling when he be f***ing me. I get so confused. I hate him, but my be popping. He say that, big
Yeah.
mommy, you're popping. I hate myself when I feel good. This is not for high school kids. This is not diversity. This is not African American studies. This is not how Black America should be represented. This is not the fake umbrella of education that the American Library Association and teachers unions are putting on this book to keep in school libraries. This doesn't belong in school libraries. I don't care what context this is. It's not age appropriate.
Exactly.
If every other sentence in a book needs to be censored, it probably shouldn't be taught in academia, let alone to high school kids. Now, for some context, that's a book titled Push, about a 16-year-old girl, and it was being taught in a Michigan school before parents rightfully spoke out and got it banned. But just listen to that reading again and tell me it's literature worth being studied. The levels of insanity are off the charts with this one. Much like our final clip of the day, listen to why this girl decided to take her own eyesight away.
Oh,
Do you
God,
have any
her.
regrets about taking your own vision or the process with which you did take your own vision?
I don't have any regrets taking my vision. I believe I should have been born blind, and I'm happy the way I am. I do have some regrets
Wow.
about the way I did it, but in the end, I'm happy the way I am.
Dr. Phil, with all due respect to Jewel, but I am having a really hard time sitting so close to someone who traumatized herself, who damaged herself.
Who's that?
We took an oath in medicine to help people. We see hard.
Okay, the doctor just needs to say it. Who's that stupid?
Right.
I mean, fly out, that's what it is. It's...
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that one. That one was, I think this is the Dr. Phil one.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, she's been on a few things.
Yeah,
It's like, what's even worse is she had somebody actually do this to her. She didn't actually do it to herself. It was her idea. But she laid out on a freaking couch and somebody poured like drain cleaner in her eyes.
Yeah.
So
Drain cleaner, acid, whatever.
how did that person not go to jail for that?
They should.
Because clearly she's mentally incapable.
Yes.
I mean,
Very much so. I mean,
some sadistic stuff right
she
there.
should be in a home.
Yeah.
Because she cannot take care of herself.
Right. And then they had somebody just go and do that. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't recall ever hearing about anybody going and getting in trouble for that. So.
No, I don't either.
Horrible tragedies every single day as doctors, and people who would give anything to go back and restore their vision, their health. My heart is beating out of my chest. I can't even make sense of the emotions I'm feeling, because to hear someone say, I've always felt I should be blind. Well, I've always felt I should be the Queen of England, but I'm not going out to become the Queen of England.
Now, say what you want, but I don't see what's the difference between her doing this to herself and a lot of transgenders who mutilate themselves by cutting off their own genitalia or breasts.
It's true.
This woman's obviously not in the right frame of mind, and someone should have definitely stepped in before she did permanent damage to herself. But as is the case with a lot of our clips today, some folks really struggle with their actual identity, and that's why you have people insisting they're blind when they aren't, or identifying as animals and demanding litter boxes. The saddest thing is that in a lot of cases, the world chooses to cater to their delusions, and that's why the problem only worsens. If you don't want to see things
God,
like
that psycho.
diversity quotas in the military or biological males competing with women in sports, all you have to do is speak up against it. Now for some news that troubled me. Last week, Google's artificial intelligence tool, Gemini, which is essentially their version of the chatbot ChatGPT, was blasted online after people saw the ridiculously politically correct images and answers it produced. In a viral post, you can see how the Gemini chatbot attempts to defend pedophilia, explaining that pedophilia, or MAP, minor attracted person, is simply a sexual attraction or preference that people can't control, and therefore we shouldn't generalize them as it could lead to discrimination and prejudice. Now that's rightfully gotten people on the internet fuming, because even something as basic as condemning adults preying on children sexually has been questioned by our technology through the ridiculous politically correct parameters that were forced on it. And there are countless other examples of this, from them showing a black man as one of the US founding fathers, or showing an Asian woman as an AI-generated image of German soldiers from World War II. It's clear how politically one-sided this tool has become. Now again, I think a lot of this comes down to satisfying the left, especially the radical ones, because for a long time they've been crying to correct the biases in AI, like not having AI-generated doctors be mostly men. But there's been such an overcorrection in our society from the vocal minority that we're now going back and literally changing history and even common knowledge, just so no one is offended. That's why I say for the upteenth time, there is no benefit in constantly catering to nonsense from a small but loud minority. Whether it's your friend, family, colleague, or strangers on the internet, we need to go back to a time where people aren't afraid to speak and hear the truth. As always, thanks for supporting this channel, and I'll see you all next week.
I had a few to catch up on this one.
What the hell is even that?
There's no bigger crime in 2024 than messing up someone's pronouns. And the key word here is crime, because our first clip of the day concerns a transgender inmate who lands himself a hefty payout for the most unexpected reason. As always, stick around to the end for the recap, this week's woke news, and much, much more.
Transgender inmate Christina Lust just won $500,000 who settled a discrimination lawsuit with the Minnesota Department of Corrections. Last word, Jeff.
I just think the funniest part of the story, I read the article, I was not aware of this, because, people say trans women are women, and then you see the picture and you're like, I don't know. But anyways.
But you can't say anything.
The part of the story was about how part of the discrimination case was like, our client was being bullied by some of the other inmates. Yeah, dude.
Prison.
It's prison. This guy just killed a family of 5, and you're like, he's not using my pronouns.
Yeah, it's not happening.
It's so dumb.
In other words, in today's society, killing someone gets you a pass, but using the wrong pronouns gets you death. I couldn't believe my eyes at the news headline. But this man actually killed a family, and the fact that he got a $500,000 payout just shows how mental the world's become.
Yeah.
And speaking of atrocious crimes, you won't believe how this TV show sides with rapists because of systemic inequities.
A woman is violently raped in a store dressing room, then takes the side of her rapist because he's black.
What?
She doesn't want her white privilege to get her attacker locked up. And then her lesbian partner tries to school the cops on racial justice. The welfare of her fiance's rapist keeps her up at night.
Now, I wish I could show actual footage from the show without copyright, but it contains some of the cringiest writing you've ever heard. When asked if she was okay, the rape victim's actual response.
So I heard that right. It's like her fiance's rapist, like the condition of the rapist, like, so I'm thinking that it was a lesbian.
I guess, yeah.
Okay. Alright. And then, so she gets brutally attacked, and then she turns around and then says, like, I don't want to, like, oh my gosh, go ahead. Wow.
Word for word was, "We're all acutely aware of the systemic inequities that exist within the criminal justice system for people like Jay. I'm afraid he won't get a fair trial." Now, I don't know who writes this crap, but you could give me 100 takes and I still wouldn't be able to read off those corny lines with a straight face. And racial discrimination seems to be a common justification for crime, because that's exactly what this representative states, following Walmart's decision to pull out from crime-ridden neighborhoods.
Walgreens is planning to close yet another pharmacy in the Massachusetts 7th. This closure is a part of a larger trend of abandoning low-income communities. These closures are not arbitrary and they are not innocent. They are life-threatening acts of racial and economic discrimination. That is why I joined with Senator Markey and Warren to demand answers from Walgreens CEO. Why was there no community input, no adequate notice to customers, and no transition resources to prevent gaps in healthcare? Shame on you, Walgreens. Having a website with talking points about health equity and underserved communities is not enough. Walgreens is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that needs to put their money where their mouth is and stop divesting from Black and brown communities.
I'm not going to do that.
Now, obviously, corporations like Walgreens don't owe you anything. So why would you expect a business to fill their shelves just so they can be looted and ransacked every day? The logic never makes any sense.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if you see this woman speak out next week about defunding the police. And she's not the only one to spew nonsense that makes zero sense. Our next clip involves a woman who fails miserably to define transphobia. See if you can follow along.
As someone who is trans, I haven't medically transitioned because it was never encouraged by any doctor, especially here in Iowa, because it was already banned. But I will say, as someone...
I mean, of course, if it's banned, there is no reason anyway, either way if it's not or if it is. There's really no reason, especially since that person looks under 21 to begin with, that they need to be transitioning other than socially.
Right, exactly. And it's like, I don't even know why they're so, like, quick to jump under the knife, except for there's, like, social validation.
Yeah.
That's, like, the only driving factor here.
When you had mentioned that you were not transphobic, are you aware that most of the people who have bans and what you are fighting for is transphobic? You are being transphobic against kids like myself and other people before.
Would you care to explain what that means, what transphobia means?
Yeah. It's a lot.
I love it every single time. Do you mind telling me what transphobia is?
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I know, they have no defined, clear thing that tells them what
but they get all teary-eyed and it's a lot.
Let's see, what is the transphobia, actually a phobia is an irrational fear.
Yes.
Of something, and it's like, I don't think people really have a fear of it, they're just not tolerating it.
Yeah, it's a non-tolerance.
This is ran by Google, so I'm curious to see what it says.
Yeah, me too.
Transphobic meaning in Hindi? Why do they keep trying to tell us everything in Hindi?
I don't know.
It's weird. Having or showing a dislike or a strong prejudice against transgender people.
Okay.
But I'm looking at the root word here. Phobic. Having or involving an extreme or irrational fear or aversion to something. It doesn't say that when you say transphobic.
No.
It doesn't say any of that.
No, it
just
doesn't.
says dislike or discrimination. And it's like, but phobic being the root thing talks about extreme or irrational fear or aversion to something.
See?
And it's like, I'm not seeing this as extreme or irrational.
They're trying to change it.
It's not extreme, it's not irrational, and it's not a phobia.
Yeah, they're trying to get it changed from what it shows.
Look that up again. Having or showing a dislike or a strong prejudice against transgender people. That is just not, that's not the root of it.
It's not.
It says transphobia consists of negative attitudes, feelings, or actions towards transgender people or transness in general. Transphobia can include fear, aversion, hatred, violence. It goes on here, but it's not. That's not what phobia is.
No, it's not.
Transgender people of color can experience many different forms of discrimination simultaneously.
Wow.
Transgender youth often experience a combination of abuse from family members, sexual harassment and bullying, or school violence. They're also disproportionately placed in foster care and welfare programs. I don't see that. Compared to their peers, they haven't been out here then.
No.
Adult transgender people regularly encounter sexual violence adult transgender people regularly encounter sexual violence, police violence, public ridicule, misgendering, or other forms of violence and harassment in their daily lives. Like, bitch, walk into my freaking shoes. I mean,
Exactly.
like, try to live like a righteous life and see what happens. They're like on you like flies on shit. I mean,
Flies on shit. I love it.
I was gonna say bees to honey, but that's too nice. So
it is.
All right, go ahead.
So many people here who have fought against being trans.
Where is he going with this?
Notice how she didn't even come close to answering the question. And whether she chooses to believe this or not, most people aren't transphobic. They're just pro-mental health. The vast majority of society realizes that transitioning or mutilating children at an early age is not what's best for them. There's absolutely nothing phobic about it at all.
Exactly.
And sticking with this so-called transphobia, here's one school that kept a student's trans identity a secret from her parents.
My daughter went to public school. Right around 9th grade is when she then came out as being trans, and I discovered it because her school had changed her name and pronoun on her emails. I was angry. How dare they change my daughter's name? How dare they not involve me? And they said, we need to be a safe space for her. That's just absurd. Safe from whom?
Oh my God.
They knew nothing about her. They couldn't tell me the color of her hair, whether she was fat or skinny. They were focused on her trans identity and keeping it a secret from me. And the ironic part, they cared so much about my daughter that they sent CPS to my home. We pulled her out of the school. There wasn't one phone call to see how she was.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if schools get more money, like if they have like more trans like students in their classes or something, because we were talking about the BLM movement, I think, last time, or maybe we weren't even talking about it on the live stream, maybe you and I were just talking, but the BLM movement, all of the money went to fund trans rights.
Yeah, it did.
And we found out that, I don't know if her name was Patrice or Patricia, I can't remember what the main lady's
Patricia,
name.
I think.
Her husband is a trans.
Is a trans.
Oh, her wife is a trans. I can't remember how this works. I can't remember if she's a lesbian or whatever, but either way, his partner is a trans.
Yep.
And so it's like, so if there is like, we talked about this agenda money that's going around, like, what was the other thing? Planet Fitness, you know, it's like they don't care because they're most likely getting agenda money.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have to wonder schools are too, because it's like, why else would they have a reason to, like, go behind people's backs and just do this so much? Just
Exactly. I mean, that's what JP brought up.
Yeah.
About the agenda money.
Right. So I have to, like, look into that, because it's like, it seems like they really are pushing for it more and more in schools. And it's
they are.
There are a couple of gay, or not, well, I guess you could say not really gay, I can't say that, trans people that I watch, you know, kind of watch what they're doing and stuff.
For sure.
And they have a whole bunch of videos about how to make your school inclusive toward trans.
Oh my God.
And the resources, go to this website here, and they'll send you free books, and they'll send you a poster, and they'll send you all this stuff. They'll send it to your school so it can become more inclusive.
Because free stuff is always good.
Yeah, right. And so there's something behind it there. Right?
Yeah, for sure there is.
Doing. They didn't care. They were virtual signaling. They were doing what they thought they needed to do. And then they just, I don't care. We parents care. We never stop being parents. And somehow we're the bad ones. We're the unsafe ones. It's really an upside down world. I can't explain it.
Now, I will admit, I'm not sure how the mother didn't realise that her daughter wanted to become trans, but either way, it's definitely not the school's right to keep that deliberately hidden from the parent.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming, but a lot of these cases, the kid might not even want to be, but the school pushes it. It's like, oh yeah, you want to be, and it's like, don't tell your mother, because they know that the mother and the father knows best, and they know what the daughter really wants. And so if the daughter talks to them, be like, well, yeah, but I'm really not, it's just they're telling me to, I feel pressured, and that's how it'll go.
They're starting it even in, like, preschool, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, saying, oh my God, it's Pride Day, and it's like, if you come out and tell me that, you know, you're there, well, not even just Pride, but it's like sometimes if you're like interracial or different race,
you get a cupcake,
and then like, nobody else gets that. Like if you're just a plain
if you're just straight person, no, you don't get a cupcake.
Like, no.
This is only for the special ones.
Right. So it's like they're already starting that, like, a reward system. Cause, like,
exactly.
What I always tell you with training with animals, what is the best reward is food.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
You know, it's treats.
Food is definitely...
Like, and with kids, nice sugary treats, it's like definitely hits the reward center.
Oh yeah, it does. Because they're like, oh my God, yes, sugar.
So it's already put into their head that way. positive reaction for this.
Yep.
And then when they get into high school, like I think this one said that her daughter was only 9 in the 9th grade. So getting into high school, right? That's when the brain starts really responding to the reward behaviors and stuff, you know, and it's like the gratification behaviors. So of course they're going to see that and be stimulated. It's like literally like 3 to 5 times more active in that department during those ages. That's why the pornography thing is such a bad thing.
Oh, I know, and it's so rampant.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
In that community.
I mean, and he read it too that like 93% of kids his age have a porn addiction.
Wow.
Like, not even just exposed to it, but a porn addiction. I said, what? He said 93%.
That is an insane number.
It started at the age of 8 to 10.
93% of the males?
Wow.
The males, sorry, excuse me, males. I can't remember what the females were, but I mean, I can't imagine it's too far off at this point because...
No, and that's an insane number.
93%.
93.
He told me twice, then I had to look at it myself, and I'm like, no, I'm like, maybe that you're
reading
it. Nope, he wasn't reading it wrong. So it was pretty bad. I mean, it started between the ages of 8 and 10, and it becomes an addiction by the time they're like 14 to 16.
That's insane.
They're like done, you know.
That's insane.
I know.
Nor is it right for them to call CPS on the mother for not wanting the girl to transition. Homeschooling is exactly on the rise because these days you have absolutely no clue what kind of confusing education or propaganda is being fed to your child at school. And for our penultimate clip, take a look at this college student who takes on Candace Owens about transgenderism in Native Americans.
Native Americans were also cannibals. Did you know that fact? Did you educate yourself on the fact? All Native Americans were cannibals? Should we just assume that it's natural for us to be eating humans because Native Americans...
Yeah, see, Candace Owens starts off, you know that some Native Americans are cannibals. You should know that. And the other one goes, yeah, all Native Americans are cannibals. All.
See, they throw these things
Yeah,
in.
they twist them.
Weird.
And it's like, oh my god, that is not what I said. If you want to switch that, that's on you.
I know, she's gonna make the same point that I've been making, like with these trans animals and stuff. They say, well, see, they try to justify, see, there's gay animals and there's trans animals out there.
Yep.
Well, there's also pedophilia, rape, and incest that is rampant without human intervention. And so you're gonna say that's okay as well. And I'm sure they will at some point. I'm sure they freaking will.
Cannibals. I really think that don't apply to what I'm asking. It exactly applies to what you're asking. You're saying that you found a piece of historical knowledge, which I would genuinely love to fact check, that there were trans Native Americans of their trans names. Yes.
Lozen, Datese, Hastinkla, Oshtish, Wehwa.
These were trans Native Americans.
Yes.
Okay. I think what you're saying is that they probably found some that they thought that they had different spirits, because we know that the Native Americans were incredibly spiritual. There's no question about that.
Which spiritual? You believe in God?
I do believe in God, yes.
So
that doesn't make me believe in trans people. That doesn't make me believe that you can switch your parts. I don't believe they were performing surgeries. And you can let me know, but I don't believe that in Native American history they were performing surgeries trying to switch their genitals because they thought that they were born in the wrong body.
There were people that felt that they didn't belong in the binary genders that we have.
Okay, so you're talking about somebody in the history of Native American history had a feeling that they were, and now you're saying that they're trans.
I'm just saying, I don't think you're really addressing what I'm asking. I'm saying that
I think I've addressed it like 20 times.
You need to bring it down a little bit because it keeps getting bumped a bit. In the Native American community, they have something called two spirits. And they were really, really highly regarded as being able to walk between two worlds and understand two different perspectives. And they were usually used as, like, medicine people. Or, like, people would go to them for advice. If
you told me about that.
I know, I just am reiterating it for the stream. So, the two-spirit community, but it was, like, incredibly rare still. And they still lived their own little special area of the village, and people went to them. They didn't really incorporate themselves into the rest of, like, tribal life because they didn't fit into any of those roles.
Exactly.
They weren't exactly proficient hunters, nor were they proficient gatherers or anything like that. So they were just not really fit into the role. So they just kind of, like, left off to the side as a medicine man and for special, or woman, and special for special ceremonies and everything. They were really, really, really highly regarded that way. But it was still incredibly rare, and not every tribe had one. You know, it was like, I don't know. It seems like I remember somewhere in the vestiges of my memory that I don't know if it was Native Americans or perhaps it was maybe even in the Middle East. There were times where they would bind Like they would tie, like, you know how you do that to the sheep? You would tie the stuff around
Yes,
their
yes,
genitals
yes.
and then it falls off eventually. Sheep, right?
Sheep, yes.
Yeah, they would do a similar sort of thing. And I'm thinking now it might have been more Mesopotamia, and that's how you ended up getting eunuchs and stuff.
Okay.
But it's not
yeah.
like those people chose it usually. They didn't choose to do that. It was usually done at birth, and it was usually because it was an inferior child or
Yeah.
a slave baby or something like that. So they didn't choose it still.
No.
So yeah, they're not going to be having surgeries, and they're not going to be physically changing parts of their body because it was too much of a risk.
Well, they were wrapping around the whole thing,
The
or
whole
just
thing,
the balls?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Because with
it's
the
the whole
sheep,
thing.
it was just
the balls.
Just
I
the balls.
understand. Yeah, to make a true eunuch meant to have nothing, and they
How'd they pee?
there's still ways because eunuchs did. I don't know. Their eunuchs existed and they still exist to this day. Now, unfortunately, they use that and like as a Bible reference, saying, "Well, there was eunuchs, and Jesus said to love the eunuchs." The eunuchs didn't have a choice to be eunuchs.
Yeah.
And they weren't sleeping with people.
No.
Because they
couldn't.
So it's like, okay, so if you're gonna do that, then go ahead and just chop everything
And
off. Then.
well, and that's why, like we talked about before, it's okay to be gay.
But you
Gay
just
is
can't-
not the sin.
Right.
The sin is when you go and you sleep with other people and you bring the lust into it.
Right,
you bring the
exactly.
sex into
Yeah,
it.
the love isn't the problem.
No.
You know, it's how monkhood started.
I mean, if you want to do that, then okay, by all means, become a eunuch and go with the person.
Right, exactly.
That's fine,
like-
and God will love you and take you in, all the same.
Exactly, and it's like you just serve, and that's just I think that's my other biggest thing is these people don't serve. All they do is they're right fighters for their own selfish needs
Yes.
and desires, and they just want to do what they want to do.
Their
They're not
own agenda.
Doing any good in the world at all.
Nope.
And the eunuchs of the past, they were actually really useful because they would be allowed to go in with the women and help them dress and
Yes.
wash and prepare for the day. I mean, you saw it, I think, in
We've seen it in a couple of different movies. Solomon, yes.
Yeah, and remember they taught the ladies how to
I know,
bow
yeah.
and stuff, and they were really, really valued members.
Yes,
of
that
their
was a good
society.
one.
But it's still rare.
Yes.
It was still really rare, and they were like pretty heavily prized for that reason. But it's still really rare, and so they always go back and they use these tribal things and these historical biblical things, and they don't know what it means. You know, it's like
Yes.
I'll look it up here too. The eunuch, I believe, just means like literally a complete and total lack of all genitalia. You can continue while I look it up.
Okay.
And you're just not wanting to hear it because you want to believe that there were trans Native Americans that were chopping off their genitals.
Now, I really want to know what you guys think in the comments. Personally, I wouldn't deny that Native Americans may have identified as more than one gender or spirit. But even if she's right, what one culture chooses to do doesn't justify something as being natural or not. And you don't see American kids being taught other Native American values in
Exactly.
school.
That's
The values being taught in church,
that's a
meanwhile,
big
have
problem.
somewhat changed, as our final clip of the day might suggest.
Church of England has its first openly non-binary priest, Bingo Allison. Not sure if that was her born name, 36, her Christian name, is genderqueer and says God guided them to come out.
Good morning and welcome to the Church of St Margaret of Antioch in Toxteth. And today is Transgender Day of Visibility. My name is Reverend Bingo Allison and I am a non-binary transgender priest in the Church of England. And as part of our
Okay, so here it talks about them just being castrated. This freaks me out when it does that.
I know.
Because that's the sound of the record ending, and there's nothing recording. We can get on it. Alright, so, how do the lesbians fit into this when it says very specifically that eunuchs were men?
Yeah, they were.
So lesbianism shouldn't be allowed in any capacity.
No.
But it said men who were castrated in order to be trusted in overseeing the king's domestic interests, especially in protecting the king's harems. Now, when I learned this with Kimberly, we learned that they took everything off. You know, but that would kind of be weird because that would leave probably an open wound, like you said, and probably a lot of problems from
Yeah, it should.
You know, but it also says here on the traditional Wikipedia definition says its technical meaning is a male who has not shown signs of typical sexual maturity by the age of 20. But
Okay.
who knows if that's a modern
Yeah.
thing or not. And it just says castration. And see, it's funny. So the earliest records of intentional castration to produce eunuchs are from the Sumerian city of Lagash, so those are people, in the 2nd millennium BCE. So pretty much right from the start of human history, they were snip snip, you know, for
Eunuchy.
snip snip. Great singing, guys. Eunuchs would usually be servants or slaves who'd been castrated to make them less threatening servants of the royal court, where physical access to the ruler could wield great influence. Seemingly lowly domestic functions, such as making the ruler's bed, bathing him, cutting his hair, carrying him in his litter, or even relaying messages, could in theory give eunuch the ruler's ear, and impart de facto power on the formerly humble but trusted servant. See, I mean, it's always good to serve. It's always good.
It is. It's really good to serve.
So back here, somebody had asked, what's a female version of eunuch? There are tons of female eunuchs today. Lots of women today have their ovaries and or uterus removed, effectively making them female eunuchs. I don't know if that's the same thing.
I don't either. Because you're not talking about the same type of situation that the males go through.
Right. So yeah, they do try to use that a lot though. They try to use like the tribal thing and the eunuch thing, and it's like they're just falling short.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Commemoration of Transgender Day of Visibility, we have a morning prayer service that we're going to read now.
Non-binary.
And most of the liturgy
She gets a female. I'm not sure.
is either directly quoted from scripture or is written by myself.
You look like a clown.
Now, regardless of religious beliefs, I think we can all smell this pandering from a mile away. Why any Catholic church that reads a Bible would decide to get a trans, non-binary priest is beyond me. And it just goes to show how far-reaching the spread of wokeness is.
Told you there.
All things considered, the trend I'm noticing in today's world is that we have to be exceedingly tolerant as far as progressive matters go. Think back to the trans inmate getting a settlement for being misgendered. TV shows that condone rape due to racism and oppression. And lest we forget, a trans non-binary priest in church. Meanwhile, speaking out for more traditional or conservative values seems to get you cancelled or labelled a bigot. It's a deliberate attempt to silence the majority, and you can see very clearly how strongly these woke values have become intertwined in even our schools and universities. Some news that really sums up the times we're in. The RAFAC, or Royal Air Force Air Cadets in Britain, have recently been cracking down on their gendered language. One of which is the term marksman, which they say is not only sexist, but gendered language as well.
Wow.
An internal memo stated that the new nomenclature is gender neutral, and the terms marksman and marksmanship must not feature when referring to the new shooting badges. Other examples of cancelled words include airman and air.
See, I haven't seen it, but even in our own military, they have dropped duty, honor, and something else. I can't remember what it is, but they have dropped those. Ugh. Like, those are like the main things, you know, duty and honor are like the main things, and I don't even know if I think the other one might have been God.
Well, yeah, but if you try to say duty and honor nowadays to the military, it's like, well, yeah, but people are lazier, and so how could they uphold that? And that's being
fatphobic.
Fatphobic, or that's being
something.
You know, you're reading too much into these people. You can't do that.
I mean, you're supposed to be held to like the highest
standard
you are. You're going to be entrusted to like
you are
the freaking country. But that's like a duty and honor being removed from the freaking military. That tells you like the total decline and collapse of the West, you know.
Well, I mean, look at the way that most Christians view Christianity.
I know.
Completely away from what it is.
Yeah.
And what they're supposed to do.
I know, but they won't call themselves anything else than Christians because they want that social acceptance still.
Yes, they do.
They want the money still, and so they just continue to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woman, which were shelved in favour of aviator, and aircraftman, which was shelved for air specialist. And that's not the only woke propaganda infiltrating the country's military. It was revealed earlier this year that diversity quotas had been enacted by the British Army to recruit more people from overseas without proper background checks.
What the hell does
Which begs the question, how on earth did we ever get to a state where the priority for the country's military is DEI instead of finding the most capable people for the job?
Okay, diversity. You need to, it's say it's Israel's army. diversity. Okay, you got to go hire Hamas soldiers to join our army because we have to have groups from everyone.
Yeah, we have to have
diversity. You have to, it has to be this way.
Oh.
You have to have them.
Oh my god. I can't believe it.
Or United States. Okay, you got to go hire people from China.
I was gonna
military.
you know that like all the little bands like that are gonna be like just sending people like crazy just to find out what the weakness in the chains are and how things operate and everything. You know damn well that's gonna happen, especially since they're not doing background checks.
Yeah. Do you have the launch codes? Because I'd like to get the launch codes.
Exactly.
Either way, remember to share this video if you too are sick of the pandering, oversensitive direction that we're heading in. And as always, thanks for supporting this channel, and I'll see you all next week.
Was that the second or third one?
Second.
Horrifying. It is horrifying. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town and Ski Yee.
Yeah, she's got every right to be terrified, and it's rare to find a teacher who cares these days.
Your daughters, your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town? I'm playing them
very young,
Princess Tiana ballet music. And they are asking me, can we hear Pound?
Yep. It's typical.
I don't know what to do.
Put them in their beds.
I don't know what to do.
I said, do not.
And I'm so scared for these little girls today because this is the most insane.
As a teacher, it's their job not to play that stuff.
It's exactly
not to introduce them to that. I mean, hell, play some Tom Petty.
I know. I don't know how you're gonna dance to that, but it'd be better than what they're listening to. I mean, they were talking about ballet. We're talking about ballet and jazz and stuff.
Yes.
It's like, excuse me, no. I'm like, this is a classy establishment. You are not going to listen to that crap. That's what you say. But I've noticed, like I said before, she's like young. She's like a Gen Zer.
Yep.
And the Gen Zers cannot handle Gen Alpha kids.
No.
Because it's like you got the total different extremes. You have the safe space, and then you've got the bold, in your face, I don't give a shit, I'm not gonna listen.
Oh, I know.
You know? It's like, yeah. But yeah, it's like, it's real simple. You just don't entertain that. You know?
don't.
And if they want to take them out, then they don't get to dance, you know? And it's
exactly.
like, I guess they're just afraid of losing money, but there's worse things to lose.
Like
morality, you know?
Like your dignity.
Exactly.
No, that goes right
here.
Hey.
You're at 42 minutes, so probably after this one you should be good.
Alrighty then.
Insane agenda push I have ever seen.
That's what happens when kids get their whole worldview from social media and the parents couldn't care less. And you can't even blame the kids, when everywhere they look it's drag queens and Cardi B rapping about sex.
Sexy Red.
In my life.
You need to bring it down.
As Never just said, Sexy Red, you know, that's one of the main ones that we have now. And I mean, well, look, even any of...
Pound Town is hers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even any of the rappers that we grew up with, we knew...
They're all falling from grace.
Yeah, they're falling. I mean, now we have, what's his name?
Puff Daddy. P. Diddy.
P. Diddy.
Yeah. Sean Combs.
Sean Combs, P. Diddy. I mean,
and then
he's going down the drain now.
A bunch of our other childhood actors and
all getting caught up in scandals and.
I know it's like the fall of the West. And
it
you
is.
know what? Like I said, Cat Williams said that this was going to be the year and all things are rebuild. And
he said a lot. Cat Williams said a lot, and some of it's coming true.
It's absolutely true. I mean, we're only 3 months in.
I know.
And look at all the exposure.
And he called a lot of it already.
I mean, from Jada to Cuba Gooding Jr. now.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's like, I hate to say it, and it's like they're all African American, you know? And
yes.
It's like, that's really sad. It's like this whole thing.
It is.
And it sucks.
It really does, yes.
Freeze dance. You guys' daughters are twerking at 5. 5!
Cute lazy.
Where's the parenting?
My school threatened
I really can't tell if this is satire, but either way, it's still the cringiest thing I've ever seen.
He said it was satire, so.
That's what happens when people get told they can identify as anything, and shame on those in her life who are clearly enabling her behavior.
You're okay going to sleep at night?
Yes.
Okay, and yeah, they're making fun of that, but at the same time, I have heard rumors that they're actually going to start putting litter boxes in high schools for the sake of furries.
That's so unsanitary.
I don't know if it'll happen,
Let's see.
but I've heard about it.
I have too, and I think they actually did. I think they started to implement it. And even, like, along those same lines, they're putting tampons in the boys' bathroom
Yes.
now. You know, and it's like, let's see.
We're looking it up now, ladies and
Litter
gentlemen.
boxes in school. I mean, just knowing how litter is, it's like, that's so freaking toxic.
Yeah, it is.
And then you're gonna have, like, waste. Just who's gonna clean it? You know,
The janitor?
Mean, that's human waste.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It's hazardous.
I know
you
it is.
cannot do that. Okay, so starting in 2021, a false rumor alleged that certain North American schools were providing litter boxes and bathrooms for students who identify as cats or participate in the furry or otherkin. I'm an otherkin. See, that's what makes me mad.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that word in forever. Otherkin subcultures.
Exactly.
It's like, I've lived with that for my entire life, but, yeah, it seems to be just a rumor and a hoax, like a demeaning hoax. But, you know, it's not so far away.
No. I mean, there's the one thing that I told you about what's going to happen soon, and you're like, oh, there's no way that we would let this get that far out of control. And I talked about,
pedophilia.
Pedophilia, and how I know damn well that they're going to identify as kids and get away with it.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, they have to honor biology. And I'm not the only one that said this, because JP said almost word for word what he was saying about how, like, this is no. It's like they just have to draw the line somewhere. And then all of a sudden it's like we have minor attracted people. And it's like they're federally freaking protected.
Oh, they won't act on it.
They're not protected.
Come on, please.
But it's like everybody who knows anything knows that a fantasy is not a fantasy for very long. You always want more.
It'll advance.
You know?
Eventually, it will advance.
But right here it says in the Montana Free Press, it says State Superintendent Arnston claims to have evidence for litter boxes in the school, and that was done in August of 2023.
See?
I mean, I don't see why not. I don't see why they wouldn't start doing something like that, you know?
Yes.
And let's see. He hasn't investigated. It says, it's imperative that we talk about these challenging issues. Let's talk about boys and girls' bathrooms and that safety issue. Let's talk about those litter boxes that some schools are putting out for children who want to view themselves as some sort of an animal. This where public education should be. I say no. It says, over the past 2 years, Republican lawmakers and parental rights activists throughout the country have claimed that certain schools offered litter boxes for students who identify as cats, an allegation wielded in the border debate over school policies that support students who are exploring their gender identities. Freaking animal is not a gender.
No, it's not.
School officials have routinely debunked such claims, prompting reactions from podcast host Joe Rogan and from a conservative state lawmaker in Nebraska. The nonprofit Education News outlet claims it's a disruptive and demeaning hoax. I don't know.
Yeah.
And this is what in this congressional hearing thingy in the public school system she oversees. Schultz, do we have evidence of litter boxes in Montana school? And this lady, she said, yes, sir. Okay, looking into it. Of course we are. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'll get back to you on that if I find any more evidence, you know.
Yeah.
Knowing that you have evicted a family and put them out at risk of homelessness onto the street. You're okay with that?
Yes.
I think there should be empathy for people struggling.
All right,
I wonder how many homeless people she's let into her home.
serve a very empathetic eviction notice.
I think homelessness shouldn't exist. I think people should not be homeless.
Sure, and people shouldn't be sick either, and isn't it a shame that people...
That is not comparable in
It
any
is.
way.
It is.
Absolutely not.
It's all comparable.
It's the world we live in.
Yeah, of course, people. That's just life. But homelessness is not life. Homelessness is a societal problem. Homelessness is something that we created.
But the thing is, everything you're saying boils down to, I want the government to help me. The government should solve the problems. That's not the real world.
Do you have the answers to everything in the world?
No, but I have the answer to this. It's called a free market. What irritates me is when tenants tell me they can't pay rent because their mom just died. They would never call their energy provider and say, I can't pay my energy bill because my mom died. They would never call Sainsbury's and go in and say, my mom died, can I have free food? Why do they come to me?
Yeah.
They prey and leech and use emotional manipulation on struggling landlords with stories of why they can't pay the rent, and it's wrong.
So you're telling me that tenants are the ones who are preying and leeching on...
Correct. Correct.
For all her noble talk, this woman would be no different if she became a landlord. I'd like to see her buy a few properties, offer to let tenants live there for free, and see how that works out.
How much does your outfit cost from head to toe? Let's talk about it. Okay, New Rock, still like 150 because I got them.
Okay, now, saying that that they wishes that would happen, that would be the perfect thing.
Yeah.
If you allow people to stay there for free and not have to worry.
Right.
But I mean, with the way the world.
That's why we have monasteries.
Yes.
That's exactly what we would do. We let people
Yes,
come as
for
long
sure.
as they're willing to work.
Exactly.
So the problem is nobody's really willing to work, and we've seen
No,
that
they want to be lazy. They want to not do anything
Right.
and just be. They want to leech off of everything.
So just take some discernment to know what kind of people you need to allow on your property.
Exactly.
Thus far, we haven't had too many that have worked out at all because nobody wants to work.
Exactly.
But,
That's the problem.
You just don't let them come back. But I mean, you give them the chance.
Yeah, always give them the chance. You cannot just be like.
I mean, unless you get super really bad by it.
Yeah.
So like I said, you gotta have discernment, but I don't know. I mean, I agree. I feel that there's too many empty buildings within America to.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at these malls that we have that are abandoned. It's up here.
I know.
They
could be totally changed.
They could be changed, and then not even just changed, but you just let some of the homeless people go stay in the mall and be like, listen, if you fix it up, then you can be there.
Right.
If they burn it down, they do something stupid, then they lose it.
Right, they don't have
That's it.
anymore. Exactly.
No more chances. But give them the first chance.
Right. It's like that movie we were watching, the Jesus Revolution. Remember, and the guy bought them that
We
property.
haven't finished it yet.
I know, and it was like a condemned property, but they started fixing it up and stuff.
Exactly.
They made a community out of it, and I mean, I'm a little divided on that. I agree. I don't think there should be the homeless problem that we have.
No, there shouldn't be. Not with the amount of abandoned buildings that we have within this country also.
Yeah, and I do not
There's no reason.
I don't like the response of it being a free market.
Yeah.
It's like, because there are circumstances and there is discrimination.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, you have lived that life. You have been
homeless.
You've lived among them and seen how this goes. It's like, it's kind of difficult to pull yourself out of that.
Yeah, it is.
And you're competing against people that do have money and
the shelters out there are there to keep you down.
Yeah, right.
They're not built there to help you go up.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was like when you weren't doing anything and everything, they were fine with you.
Yeah, they help you more.
Right, but then when you start...
But then once you start trying to get going, trying to go, then they're like, oh, no.
Then you don't need us then, so get out.
You don't need us, bye.
Yeah,
That's it.
Like, there's no
drop.
transitional state. There's no transitional,
Yep.
I don't want to call it benefits, but assistance, It's all like either one or the other. Either you're completely and totally homeless. They don't let you build up any money so you can go and
they don't.
first month, second month's rent somewhere or anything. They're like, no, you're making money, get the hell out.
Exactly.
Oh, you have a place to stay or work for a couple of days, get the hell out. It's like, that's just, that bugs me. That really does.
For sure.
These pants were like $12. Belt was like $7. I don't even know how much this cost. Glasses, my mom's bag.
Call me tasteless, but you couldn't pay me to walk out like that.
Honestly, $24. Turn around. What's this? What's the tie? There's a tie behind you. Money, my sons too. What are you giving? Honestly, like mask, BF, who's like non-binary, but like low-key she, her, but also data. Okay, what about you?
Demonias, I don't know how much they were.
80.
These Amazon, they were like 20, I think. Leg warmers, stole from my friend, stole from my other friend, stole from my third friend.
From my friend.
These people want to stand out so bad, but they all look like carbon copies of each other. I'm not even surprised that their entire friend group wears the same tacky items.
Hey, it's stole from my other friend, not the third friend though.
So you're a thief?
Oh, I'm a thief. Sure, thrifted the
Just
$60.
admits
During
it.
Halloween, I sold the Are you kidding me?
Allegedly.
Face priceless. Are you kidding me?
The face is priceless.
A new order from DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is warning Border Patrol agents not to misgender illegal immigrants. Yes, you heard that right.
So now we're brainwashing illegal immigrants as well.
So as we watch massive crowds of migrants cross our southern border under President Biden's watch, it appears the White House is prioritizing pronouns. New DHS orders obtained by the Heritage Foundation instruct agents to, quote, ask individuals about their preferred pronouns. They suggest asking, quote, I would like to be respectful. What name and pronoun would you like me to use addressing you?
Even if I was purposefully trolling, I couldn't come up with something more ludicrous than this. But who knows? Maybe asking them their pronouns will make them reconsider crossing over into the country.
Or ask, can you please confirm your pronouns or gender identity? The memo also tells agents not to use pronouns like he and she and Mr. and ma'am.
If you have to ask, you'll never know what I am.
Exactly.
Until they are sure of how that person would like to be addressed. It is nonsense, but this is the continued nonsense we get from this administration.
Just put a cigarette into his mouth. What is going on? What is going on?
God, it's what?
Female supremacy.
Oh.
So they know that women are in charge and women are here to rule.
World War III needs to hurry up. I can barely watch this.
Dude.
So as the
He's like in this weird
beta
outfit.
male. Are you a beta male?
And he's like down on the ground, and
beta
she was
male
like
is
ashing her
basically a
cigarette
male
into his
who's been
mouth.
born to be a man. As you can
And
see,
he's
that's
on a
why she's in
leash.
a pretty frilly dress.
Oh. What do you get out of it?
Humiliation.
Humiliation? But why would...
Dom and sub behavior.
Just remember, this is what his forefathers died on the beaches of Normandy for. What a sad sight.
I have to say, this is maybe the most novel thing I've ever filmed on Market Street.
Well, I tell you now, it's going to get a lot more of this.
There you go.
The world's very shy to it, but I tell you now, female supremacy will be a thing.
The beta male seems to enjoy
boss bitch
humiliation. If they're grown-ups, they can do whatever they want.
Another one.
Kind of. What do you think, viewers?
Stop parading that stuff on the street. These people are in desperate need of some testosterone or therapy.
It's a waste.
Was it a vegan one?
Lives are being changed by these vegan activists who are putting everything on the line by wasting milk. It's like the Mario coloring.
All they're doing is increasing the demand for milk and forcing the store to restock their inventory. Not sure what they were trying to accomplish here.
It's just milk.
It's so courageous, man.
I know.
Let's suffer for that, you know?
Yeah. I'm trying to get him now, all these people. There's like all these cops. Security cops, something.
I asked to speak at the December 10th meeting, and I was shut down by Grimaud. She lectured us for 3 minutes on the bathroom policy on December 10th, but she would not allow me to address, she would not allow anyone to address the public at a public meeting about the bathroom policy. We were shut down last week, and now we have to sit through this trash, lecturing us, stupid parents and stupid adults, that we don't know what male and female is. This is trash, and this is what's being taught in our public school system, and I'm done. My kids are out. I got 4 daughters, and they're out of the public school system.
Props to the father for pulling his kids out. If everyone was brave enough to speak out like him, we might not have such a mental health crisis in the country.
And I ask you, if you care about your kids, if you care about your children, if you care about your grandchildren, pull them out of the public school system. Because this is trash. It is trash. It's toxic.
What are you doing?
And it is ungodly.
Hey.
And it should not be taught in our public school system. No. So I've had enough.
Exactly. There's a preacher.
Homeschool your kids. Take them to Northfield. Take them to another school system that is not going to teach your kids this trash. Because that's what it is. It is trash.
For sure, homeschool.
It's male and female. It is scientific. And this is confusing our kids, and we cannot affirm this behavior in our school system. It's going to lead to abuse. It's going to lead to pedophilia, and that's what's coming down the road. And I'm not going to stand there and be lectured by some woman telling me that there's 165 genders, because it's not true. If that's the case, then why do we have 165 bathrooms?
I never thought I'd say this 10 years ago, but
Yeah, he's saying 100 and it was like, wow, we found 93 pride flags using. So, I mean, he's not far off on that 100.
No, I think that I've heard that before. Let's see. Let's see what it says. Let's ask Google again, you know.
Yep.
How many genders are there? Okay. Okay, this is what it has to say. It doesn't give us a number, but it says, however, gender isn't about someone's anatomy. It's about who they know themselves to be. There are many different gender identities, including male, female, transgender, gender neutral, non-binary, agender, pangender, queer gender. Nope, sorry.
Good God.
Gender queer, two-spirit. That pisses me off. Third
Yeah.
gender and all, none, or a combination of these.
Oh my God.
And it says, besides male and female, there are 72 other genders. This is what this one says. Oh, we even have something called null gender, genderless, which would be the same thing, gender void, which is the same thing,
Yeah.
or neutral gender, which is basically the same thing.
That is ridiculous.
Abimigender, associated with being profound, deep, and infinite. That's me then. I found it.
Finally.
But yes, they're saying 72. But I think I have. It is medicine.net. Medicine.net says there's 72 other genders.
Oh my God.
Ooh. Wow. And there's even a list that has 1,000. That's crazy.
That is just insane.
Alright, finish this one out.
Yep.
Schooling is actually looking more and more appealing with each day that passes. There's just too many crazy teachers out there.
Where's the doctor at to verify this? They're saying that the doctors are wrong. Why don't they bring a doctor in here and call them wrong to the face? They're the ones that went out there and paid thousands upon thousands of dollars to get the right to tell us what we are.
So here's what we're going to do, okay? I'm pulling my kids out. That's enough. Until this school system wants to get their heads screwed on straight and actually protect our children, my kids are out. And I ask you to do the same thing. Please stay.
That is the biggest thing that you can do, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not like what's going on at school, what's going on, pull your kid out, homeschool. That way you have the power to teach your kid what they need to know.
The best thing that you can do, and the most American thing that you can do in these sort of things, is to refuse to participate. It goes with the people having to deal with the sports.
Yes.
It's the people that have to deal with the schools. It's like just absolutely refuse to participate.
Exactly.
It's the best way to protest it. You don't have to get loud. You don't even have to explain yourself. You just step away from it and refuse to participate. Something I've been good at my entire life because
mic drop.
Yeah, I just you don't.
Exactly.
I've got this whole list here. This is from Wikipedia. You can kind of show the camera here. This is Wikipedia. This is all the different genders that they are listing.
Let's see. Over there.
They even have one called gender fuck.
Wow.
There was something called seket too, which is an actual means garden, I think, in Egyptian.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead and show that off.
Okay, yes. This is what we got. I don't even know if you can see it.
But this is a list of the most common known genders, apparently.
I mean, literally, there's a whole list here, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's about. Bring it way down. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining myself and Nefer here. We always have fun with these, it's just see what the world brings us this time. Now, tomorrow, we have a special announcement to make. So you will not want to miss it. You'll want to stop by, see what's going on, check out our whatever we decide to do tomorrow night. And namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already, to always know what's going on. Ring that notification bell.
Alright, done.
Yep.
Okay.
Namaste.